Unlocking the hidden truths of your soul. The mystical reasons behind your obsession. I never expected a single dream to change everything. The night it happened, the moon hung low, draping the world in silver light. I felt it whispering to me, hinting at secrets buried deep within my soul. I had gone to bed weary and lost, wrestling with the fog of uncertainty swirling in my mind. My heart thudded against my chest, a relentless reminder of my doubts. As I drifted into sleep, a kaleidoscope of colors filled my vision. I was in a forest dense with towering trees, their leaves swirling with energy. Rays of light pierced through the foliage, creating a dance of shadows and brilliance. There, among the whispering branches, I encountered a figure cloaked in vibrant robes. His eyes sparkled with ancient wisdom. "What do you seek?" he asked, his voice echoing like thunder. I couldn't respond. An ocean of questions churned inside Muhat. Was this obsession that bound me? This longing I couldn't quite grasp? Was it love? Was it freedom? The air crackled with electricity, and as he stretched out his hand, a strange sensation coursed through me, awakening something dormant. This was no ordinary dream. Everything felt vivid, alive. I could smell the damp earth, a mixture of pine and moss filling my lungs. Every heartbeat pulsed with urgency, as if the universe was begging me to understand. But through all the clarity, shadows loomed. My doubts twisted into wraiths, drifting between the trees, urging me to turn back. "Face your truth, and you shall discover," echoed the figure, before vanishing into thin air. I was left alone, fumbling in the dark. Nature held its breath, the silence thick and overwhelming. I could feel the weight of my unasked questions, a suffocating shroud enveloping me. What did he mean? How could I face my truth? The ground trembled underfoot, and the sky darkened. An ethereal glow emerged, illuminating a path before me. I hesitated, my heart racing, fear gripping my throat. What awaited me at its end? The air shimmered with potential, and I took a tentative step forward, eager and terrified. But then, just as quickly, the vision shattered. I awoke in my bed, the moonlight still spilling through the window, but the dream haunted me. It lingered like a melody I couldn't quite recall. I lay there, questions swirling in my mind, uncertainty tightening my chest. What truths had I just unlocked? What awaited me on that shimmering path? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon, and while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The morning sun peeked through my blinds, igniting a sense of urgency that surged within me. The dream's vivid images played like a film loop in my mind, each frame pulsating with fleeting insight. I could almost feel the mysterious figure's presence lingering, as if he had woven himself into the fabric of my awakening. The shadows of doubt were still present, but now accompanied by a burgeoning curiosity that begged for exploration. Breakfast felt foreign. Even the simple act of eating was overshadowed by the desire to return to the forest, to decipher the meaning behind the dream. With each bite, my thoughts drifted back to the shimmering path and the ancient figure. "Face your truth." His words echoed, haunting yet inviting. What truth awaited? And more pressing, what was the obsession that clouded my path? After breakfast, compelled by an unseen force, I grabbed my journal and a pen. The note pages felt sacred, the opportunity to uncover deeper layers of my soul. I began scribbling observations: the forest, the figure, the uncertainties. Each word felt like a stepping stone, urging me closer to clarity. But as I wrote, a different urge twisted in my gut. I needed to step outside, to find answers not just in reflections but in reality. Leaving my home, I wandered into the nearby woods, an eerie familiarity wrapping around me like a shroud. The trees whispered secrets, the sun casting playful shadows on the forest floor. I ventured deeper, absorbing the tranquility yet yearning for that mystical energy that sparked within my dream. And then, a scene unfolded before me that felt as if it had emerged straight from a tapestry woven by fate. In a sun-drenched clearing, I discovered a circle of stones. Each seemed imbued with a unique essence, ancient symbols etched across their surfaces. My heart raced. The setting mirrored the surreal visions of my dream. Here was a tangible expression of the realms I had traversed in sleep. Stepping into the circle, I felt the air thicken with pulses of energy, connecting me to the earth and something greater. As I sat among the stones, thoughts flowed freely, questions emerged, unfiltered and raw. What if my obsession was a misdirected longing for something profound? Was I chasing someone else's dreams instead of my own? That question settled deep, reverberating through my core. It felt like a revelation yet left me on the edge of an abyss. How could I be certain of my desires when they could be mere reflections of those I admired? Lost in contemplation, a soft rustle broke the stillness. I turned to see a wizened woman with silver hair, her presence commanding yet gentle. "You have come seeking," she murmured, as if she had been waiting for me. "What do you wish to unearth?" Her eyes sparkled, alive with knowledge. Initially hesitant, I found myself sharing fragments of my journey, the obsession, the quest for understanding, the dream. With each revelation, the weight of confusion dissipated, replaced by an insatiable hunger for understanding. "What speaks to your soul?" she prompted, her voice layered with wisdom. I pondered. The winding path of discovery felt laden yet profoundly enlightening. "My soul seeks clarity," I confessed. "I want to break free. But how?" A gentle smile spread across her face as she nodded, knowing the path ahead required more introspection. "In seeking, you may stumble upon the echoes of the past, and therein lies your power. Embrace the journey, for only through the fog can one see the light clearer." She gestured around the stone circle, each stone a piece of the puzzle within me, each one holding a part of my shattered self. With renewed resolve, I asked, "Will I ever truly know my truth?" Her eyes twinkled knowingly. "Truth is not static. It is fluid, ever evolving based on the choices you make. Embrace the questions, and let them guide you." As she began to walk away, the ground beneath me pulsed with life, and I was left with that most potent question. How do I embrace the questions without the fear of never discovering the answers? The forest responded softly, as if urging me to tread forward into the unfolding mystery of my existence. And in that moment, I knew my journey had just begun. With the woman's words still echoing in my mind, I lingered among the stones, each pulse of the earth beneath me stirring something dormant within. The clarity of the moment began to shift, revealing deeper complexities in the questions I held. Shapes and symbols danced along the edges of my awareness, leading me to realize that the stones were not mere artifacts but guardians of personal truths, waiting to be unveiled. Where had this obsession come from, and why did it feel so imminent? I felt like a moth drawn inexorably to a flame, and yet, with every flicker, I sensed heat and light, a promise of evolution. Rising to my feet, I placed my hand upon the smooth surface of the closest stone, closing my eyes as I invited insights to wash over me. The vibration resonated like a heartbeat, and I slipped into a trance that transported me beyond this realm. Visions cascaded over me, scenes from my childhood intermingling with fleeting glimpses of what might lie ahead. I saw echoes of my younger self laughing, playing, dreaming, but shadows distorted those visions, casting doubts. Were those authentic desires, or were they the dreams shaped by others? As the images faded, I was startled to hear the rustling of leaves behind me. Turning, I found a young girl standing just inside the circle, her eyes wide with wonder. Her hair cascaded over her shoulders like sunlit waterfalls, and something in her cracked smile reflected a curiosity that mirrored my own. "Are you a seeker too?" she asked, her voice a fragile whisper, caught off guard by her presence. I nodded. "I am searching for truths, for answers." She looked at me knowingly, as if she had grasped the essence of my quest without needing to elaborate. Sometimes the answers lie waiting beneath the surface of your heart, she said. You must listen closely. Do you know how? My own question surprised me. Asking for guidance from a child felt both absurd and strangely liberating. Follow what inspires you, she exclaimed, clapping her hands together. Dance with the questions. Look for signs. They are everywhere. With that, she spun around, twirling joyfully amidst the stone circle, her laughter ringing like a chime in the air. I watched her, spellbound by her uninhibited joy, momentarily forgetting the heaviness that had enveloped my journey. In that playful act, I grasped the core of her message. Perhaps the answers wouldn't emerge from a place of seriousness, but rather from an openness to the serendipitous moments life presented. Will I find my truth? I called out to her as she continued her delightful dance, a spark of hope igniting in my chest. Yes, she shouted over her shoulder, twirling faster, but only if you are willing to embrace the joy of the unknown. My heart lifted with her words. As if on cue, the whispers of the forest intensified, wrapping around me like a comforting blanket. I stepped out of the circle, following her previous path as she danced away, leaving behind an echo of laughter lingering in the air. With renewed determination, I ventured deeper into the woods, seeking signs among the trees, the flutter of wings above, the rustling of leaves beneath my feet. Each sound became a whisper, each movement a clue. I searched for the playful energy the girl had inspired in me, knowing that if I sought these signs and stayed attuned to the serendipity of existence, truth would weave itself into a living tapestry, rich and illuminating. Yet, with every step, the question loomed larger. Would I have the courage to embrace the mysteries that beckoned, or would I cling to my comforts, fearing what lay beyond the veil? The forest seemed to shimmer in response, beckoning me deeper into the unknown, urging me to step into the shadows of uncertainty. The weight of the day's revelations lingered in my heart, full of both promise and uncertainty. How do we embrace the joy of the unknown while navigating the labyrinth of truths buried within us? The journey ahead glimmered with possibilities and questions, each waiting for me to discover, unravel, and ultimately confront. Each step felt like opening a door, leading me into the unfurling landscape of my soul. What hidden truths awaited beyond the next turn? As I ventured deeper into the forest, each footfall reverberated with a sense of purpose that felt almost electric. The vibrant greens cloaked the world in a life force distinct from the city's busy architecture. Here, the air was saturated with a rawness that sparked my curiosity. Shadows danced playfully amongst the trees, and the breeze carried faint whispers that wrapped around me with familiar warmth. Lost in thought, I barely noticed when the landscape shifted, the sun filtering down through the branches in luminous rays. I found myself at a small clearing, its center graced by an ancient oak tree, gnarled and wise. Its roots twisted like serpents, weaving intricate patterns into the earth, and I sensed its energy pulsing in synchronicity with my own. Cautiously, I approached, tracing the contours of the rough bark with my fingertips. As I leaned closer, I was enthralled by faint carving on the trunk, a swirling symbol that resonated with my memories of the stones. My heart raced with recognition. It was a sign, or perhaps a message, waiting to be deciphered. Suddenly, I heard footsteps approach, and I turned to see an old man walk into the clearing. His eyes sparkled like starlight, and his sun-weathered face was etched with lines of wisdom. He carried a handmade wooden staff, adorned with vibrant feathers and small trinkets that tinkled softly with each step he took. A fellow traveler, he spoke, his voice deep like the roots of the great oak. You have come seeking truths in the whispers of this world. I have, I replied, drawn to him by the gravity of his presence. But I often find myself lost amidst the questions. Can you help me understand the signs? The old man smiled, his face softening. Every sign, every mystery you encounter is a reflection of your heart. The journey you are on is a sacred conversation with the universe. But remember, it is not just answers you seek. It is the awe of discovery, the beauty of change. His words resonated with clarity, making my thoughts feel chaotic yet profound. But what if the truths I uncover bring pain or discomfort? What if they shatter everything I believe? Ah, the fear of shattered illusions, he mused, leaning against his staff. But think, dear seeker, is it not said that we must let go of the old to accept the new? Just as the tree sheds its leaves in autumn to prepare for the new bloom in spring, so too must we allow ourselves to release what no longer serves. His analogy drew me in, yet fear appeared heavy on my heart. I ache to know who I am, but can I bear the weight of what I find? Courage is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to dance with it, he proclaimed. If you look closely, signs may arrive in the least expected forms, moments of joy, heartbreak, and everything in between. They are each threads in the grand tapestry of your spirit that I watched as he picked a small, vibrant feather from his staff and offered it to me. Take this. Let it be a reminder that you can soar even when the ground feels unstable. Use it as a talisman when you feel overwhelmed by uncertainty. With reverence, I accepted the feather, feeling its softness in my palm, a spark of hope igniting within. The old man inclined his head slightly, a gesture inviting me further into my exploration. Seek not merely for answers but embrace the journey itself. The path is an initiation, calling you to embrace the divine mystery. As he spoke, a curious feeling washed over me, almost as if the forest were alive, pulsing with collective wisdom. Petals began to swirl around us, stirred by the wind, creating a swirling dance that felt otherworldly. I could sense that deeper connections awaited my discovery, threads that might connect me to others both seen and unseen. The moment felt like a pivotal turning point, yet clarity remained elusive. How will I know when I am truly attuned to these signs? The old man leaned closer, a glint of mischief in his eyes. Ah, embracing the mystery is the true essence of the journey. You will feel the echoes of your heart guiding you, each moment a new revelation. Just remember, while questions are waiting for answers, the answers themselves may be far more intriguing than the questions. With that, he turned and began walking away, leaving me with a lingering sense of wonder and a profound question that danced at the edges of my mind. What if, instead of waiting for clear answers to emerge from the shadows, I learned to revel in the curiosity of my quest? What awaited me in the tapestry of my truth? As I grasped the feather tightly, the flickering thoughts of my journey danced before me like fireflies at dusk. The unraveling mystery of my soul continued to beckon me forward, and I wondered anew. Could I find beauty not just in revelation, but in the journey itself? What wonderful surprises awaited me just around the next bend of this mystical path? As the old man disappeared into the depths of the forest, I stood alone in the clearing, the ancient oak towering above me, its wrinkled bark radiating a wisdom that felt both daunting and inviting. I turned my attention back to the swirling symbol carved into its trunk, tracing it with my finger as I sank deeper into contemplation. What realities lay beneath this intricate design? What threads of connection did it weave into the fabric of my existence? With the feather clutched in my hand, I felt a gentle pull to venture further into the forest. I followed a narrow path that unveiled itself beneath a carpet of soft moss. Each step stirred a symphony of sounds: the rustle of leaves, the chirping of hidden creatures, and the distant sound of flowing water. It felt as if the forest was becoming my steadfast companion, whispering secrets only revealed to those who truly listened. The deeper I went, the more vibrant the surroundings became. Flowers painted in colors unseen flooded the air with a sweet fragrance, intoxicating in its allure. As I neared a bubbling stream, the sunlight glittered on the water's surface, illuminating small fish darting below. I felt compelled to kneel beside the stream and watch the reflections ripple, mirroring my thoughts, my hopes, and my fears. At that moment, I caught sight of a peculiar stone half buried in the mud at the water's edge. It was smooth and cool to the touch, radiating an energy similar to that of the stones I had encountered before. As I picked it up, the feather in my hand shimmered, catching the light as if standing in conversation with this newfound treasure. What did it mean to find yet another symbol, and what truths was it meant to illuminate? Just then, the playful splashing of water startled me, and I looked up to see a young girl, perhaps no older than 7, step lightly from the underbrush. Her bare feet barely disturbed the ground, and her laughter rang like chimes dancing in the breeze. The girl approached me with the same certainty as the forest, her eyes sparkling with the brilliance of untethered joy. Do you see it? She asked, her voice a melody that seemed to blend with the natural symphony around us. The truth? It lives in water, in trees, in the rain and sunshine, filling the world with magic. What do you mean? I inquired, drawn to her exuberance. She pointed to a single droplet hanging from a leaf above us, glimmering in the sunlight. Every drop tells a story. Look closely. They gather wisdom from the sky, from the trees, from all the things that have come before us. They are reminders that we are all connected. I followed her gaze, engrossed in the tiny world encapsulated in that droplet. In that instant, I understood the significance of her words. Indeed, I became aware of the interconnectedness of all things, the stones, the trees, the girl before me, and even the mysteries of my own heart. The whispers I felt before started to clarify in my mind, unfolding the many layers of my quest. I want to know the story behind my own truth, I confessed, feeling the weight of my inquiry deeply settle within. But how do I uncover what lies hidden? Close your eyes, she instructed, her voice softening. Listen to the world around you. Let the stories come to you. Each breath you take is a step closer to understanding. With a touch of hesitation, I obeyed and closed my eyes. I focused on my breath, slow and purposeful as the forest continued to speak in a language both familiar and foreign. I began to envision threads of colors intermingling and unraveling. Moments of joy, sorrow, and uncertainty intertwining into something far greater than myself, as vivid images flashed behind my eyelids, a memory of laughter beneath a starlit sky, of heartbreak felt deeply, and of moments of calm during a storm. I sensed a deep truth surfacing. It was less about answers and more about embracing every experience that shaped who I was. They were not mere occurrences, but sacred pieces of a wider narrative that transcended time. When I opened my eyes, the girl was gone, a wisp of laughter lingering in the air as if she were a spirit sent to guide me. The forest echoed with silence, yet I felt that silence buzzing with potential. I understood then that my journey was only beginning, an odyssey marked by exploration and growth under the vast sky. With a renewed sense of purpose, I stood up, holding the stone tightly and raising my gaze to the canopy above. I felt ready, yet there remained so many unknowns. I was still a seeker, one whose curiosity led me forward into the questions yet to be unearthed. Could I continue to embrace the unexpected, allowing these moments to guide my path toward the mysteries of myself and the universe at large? And so, as I walked, I pondered. What if each interaction I experienced, every fragment of life I stumbled upon, was laced with meaning, waiting for me to uncover? How would I learn to listen to the stories of the world? And more importantly, how would I weave my own story into the great narrative of existence? Each new step was an invitation to unlock the hidden truths of my soul, exquisite, enigmatic, and alive. The vibrant hues of the forest shifted as I progressed deeper into the thicket, shadows stretching and morphing in playful dances on the ground. Each breath I took seemed to synchronize with the heartbeats of the earth beneath my feet. The pull of the unknown beckoned with a gentle insistence, amplifying my desire to uncover the layers of mystery surrounding me. As I rounded a bend, the air changed, filled with the intoxicating scent of earth after rain. Before me opened a small clearing dominated by an unexpected sight. A circle of tall sunflowers, their golden heads bent toward the ground as if listening to secrets whispered in the breeze. Encircling them was an old stone wall, partially covered in moss and lichen, crumbling yet resilient, a guardian of the stories contained within. Compelled by a force I could only describe as spiritual, I approached the circle. The sunflowers, though seemingly stationary, appeared almost alive with a vibrancy that pulsed like a heartbeat. Kneeling, I reached out to touch one, feeling the coarse texture of its bark-like stem and the silkiness of its petals. In doing so, I noticed a small, hand-carved wooden box nestled at the base of the largest sunflower, its grain glowing softly in the dappled light. My hands trembled slightly as I opened the box, its hinges creaking in concert with the whispered breeze. Inside, I found an array of trinkets, each one etched with symbols I recognized from the ancient oak. Spirals, waves, and intertwining vines. I felt the weight of history in these objects, imbued with energies and stories that transcended my understanding. Resting atop the trinkets was an intricately folded piece of paper. Unfurling it revealed a verse scribbled in a delicate hand. To seek is to uncover what has always been within. Listen to the echo of your heart, for therein lies the truth you craved. That I felt a stirring within me, a call to turn the gaze inward as I had outward. What truths did I harbor that remained unspoken, hiding like treasures in the depths of my own being? Gripping the words tightly, I stood and allowed my gaze to wander beyond the sunflowers, across the meadow that stretched out before me. Birds fluttered above, their songs cascading through the warm air. A deep sense of gratitude filled me, engendered by the understanding that everything was part of an intricate design, each note a piece of the grand melody that resonated within the cosmos. I began to ask myself whether I was truly listening, not just to the external sounds around me, but also to the quiet whisper of my own thoughts and feelings. Infected by a sudden burst of confidence, I called out into the vastness, allowing my voice to meld with the songs around me. What is it that I need to hear? What story am I meant to tell? My voice rippled through the air, an offering to the unknown and a deeply profound moment of introspection. I envisioned the journey ahead, a mixture of tangible destinations and ethereal aspirations. How could I transform the vibrant energy of the gifts before me into a narrative worth sharing? Just as the flowers danced with the wind, I, too, felt a spark of courage to express the colors of my own spirit, to unveil my truth with unapologetic authenticity. As twilight descended, painting the sky in shades of purple and gold, I made my way back through the forest, cradling the wooden box closely to my chest. The questions I had once thought merely signs of uncertainty began to morph into invitations, openings for exploration rather than the burdens they had seemed. Each question I carried became a window into the symphony of life unfolding around me. The sun dipped below the horizon, leaving fragments of warmth lingering in the air. The rustling leaves whispered a gentle reminder. The journey I was embarking on was not solely about answers but about the courage to embrace the unknown, to dance with the uncertainties that life presented. And as I walked, I turned to the ever-darkening sky, filled with stars yet to be noticed, and pondered anew. What stories lie dormant within me, waiting for my heart to awaken them? How would I learn to weave my own narrative into the sacred fabric of existence, allowing my truths to blossom and intertwine with those of others on this shared path? The depth of my inquiry ignited an expansive yearning, recognition that the path to discovering those hidden truths was as sacred as the truths themselves. The forest felt more alive than before, its energy pulsating in tandem with my own heartbeat. As the night deepened, the sounds transformed into an orchestra of Mystiquean echoing symphony of crickets, rustling leaves, and the soft croaks of distant frogs. The box I carried began to feel heavier, not with weight but with the significance of discovery. My consciousness swirled like a cosmic dance, propelling me into a reflective state where each step carried layers of meaning. That I found myself drawn back to the clearing, where the sunflowers silently watched, their heads still bowed as if in reverence to the unseen realms. Under the soft glow of the emerging moon, the garden transformed. Silvery light caressed the soft filaments of the petals, illuminating their golden hue in a spectral glow. It felt as though the sunflowers guarded ancient wisdom, waiting for someone brave enough to seek their truths. Kneeling once more beside the flowers, I closed my eyes and listened to the whisper of the wind, inviting it to carry me deeper into my own soul. In that moment, the gift of the wooden box seemed to pulse vibrantly, releasing echoes of stories I had yet to unearth. What truths lay entwined not only within its contents but also within the fibers of my being. I felt on the brink of revelation, yet still shrouded in the mists of mystery. That a sudden gust of wind swept through the clearing, and I opened my eyes to witness a strange phenomenon. The sunflowers, as if animated by the breath of the earth, began to sway subtly, their heads slowly lifting toward the star-studded sky. Entranced, I watched as visions unfurled before me, shimmering with potential. Flashes of my past flickered across my mind. Moments of joy, sorrow, and profound introspection danced like fireflies in the night. I recalled instances when I had silenced my voice, believing it to be unworthy of attention. Each memory held a note, a fragment of a deeper story yearning to emerge. The intricacy of my existence began to reveal itself in broad strokes. Each hue resonating with lessons learned, each chapter a step toward embracing my truest self. A sound unexpectedly pierced the quiet, the soft flutter of wings. I turned to see an owl perched upon a nearby branch, its deep, knowing eyes locked onto mine. The owl, a symbol of wisdom and insight, seemed to urge me to confront my fears, to penetrate the veil of uncertainty that often clouded my path. What knowledge do you seek? Its gaze seemed to ask, inviting me to unravel the complexities of my own spirit. Why do I hesitate to share my truth? I whispered, voicing my vulnerability into the night. The wind carried my question into the shadows, and I felt an unmistakable shift in the atmosphere in agreement. As if the universe itself listened intently, in the stillness that followed, I realized that each hesitation stemmed from woven threads of past experiences, the weight of expectations, the fear of judgment. What if, instead, I embraced those stories? What if I liberated my voice, allowing it to carve its rightful space in the grand tapestry of existence? The owl blinked slowly, as if condensing its wisdom into a singular point of understanding. At that moment, I experienced a profound clarity. Shared truths have the power to heal not just the speaker but also those who are willing to listen. Each time we unveil a fragment of our essence, we deepen our connection with others, fostering community on the path of spiritual awakening. With determination igniting within, I understood that my gifts, the trinkets from the box, were not merely tokens of the past. They were invitations to share the melody of my soul. As I scattered the items in a circle around the sunflowers, a newfound reverence for this act enveloped me. Each piece reflected a fragment of my story, waiting to resonate with others who dared to venture into their own depths. Night folded gently over the clearing as I sat among the sunflowers, intertwined with their ancient energy. Questions hung tantalizingly in the air, mingling with the fragrant earth and starlit sky. How could I continue to cultivate my voice, drawing from the wellspring of experience within? What tools did I need to share the intricate tapestry I now began to see within myself? And as I let the quiet embrace of the forest cradle me, I recognized that the path to understanding my truths was ever unfolding, like the petals of a sunflower reaching for the light. A realization dawned. In embracing the uncertainties, in sharing my story, I stepped closer to the luminous authenticity that lay ahead. Yet, as dawn awaited its moment, I still sought resolution for what truly awaited me beyond the threshold of my fears. What stories would spark the flame of connection? And how might I harmonize my journey with the countless souls traversing their own paths? The night deepened, draping the clearing in a blanket of mystery that shimmered with the light of countless stars. Sitting among the sunflowers, I felt a growing urge to explore further, both within and around me. They stood sentinel-like, guardians of untold stories, their once bowed heads now triumphant, a testament to resilience and the power of reaching toward the light. In their presence, I wondered if they too had experienced the weight of doubt. As I intertwined my fingers with the cool earth, I closed my eyes and surrendered to the sounds of the forest. The rustling leaves transformed into whispers, echoing unresolved questions and faint melodies from the depths of my spirit. Each sound was an invitation to delve deeper, to discovery, to healing. Invigorated by the owl's gaze, I began to imagine what my truth could uplift not just my own psyche, but others on their paths as well. The moment ripened as an earthy fragrance filled the air, sweet yet grounding. The words came to me like seedlings germinating in the soil. What if my voice could be a bridge? Images conjured in my mind. Shared laughter, tears, moments suspended in empathy. And suddenly, the box, with all its tokens of my story, seemed less a burden and more a treasure chest, a repository of wisdom waiting to be unwrapped. As I ventured into this space of contemplation, a gentle rustle interrupted my reverie. I opened my eyes to see a small figure illuminated in the moonlight. A fox, agile and curious, approached the edge of the clearing. Its fiery fur glistened like embers against the soft backdrop of night. I felt a chill as our eyes met. There was an unmistakable connection and understanding between us. The fox seemed to embody the trickster spirit, urging me to question my reality. Through its gaze, I was reminded that wisdom could often arrive cloaked in playful mischief. It shifted its weight from one paw to the other, as if ready to share a secret. What do I truly seek? I pondered aloud, echoing the unspoken questions that had lingered, spurred by the fox's presence. I was flooded with a kaleidoscope of memories, each one a fragment of my journey. I recalled the times when I had allowed societal expectations to cage my voice, fear making itself comfortable in the silence I imposed. Every word left unspoken seemed to hang heavy in the air, grains of sand falling quietly and continuously in an hourglass. Can these fragments weave a tale that resonates with the broader scope of existence? My thoughts raced, each revelation prompting further introspection. Fear had been a silent companion throughout my path, but it was time to understand its intricacies, to unpack the layers binding me to it. As if sensing my turmoil, the fox tilted its head, breaking the tension of that moment. In its playful dance, it began to move through the sunflowers, weaving effortlessly between each bloom. This sparked a thought: what if my narrative was similarly fluid? What if each piece of my past could shine in the presence of others, fusing into an intricate tapestry of shared experience and empathy? The sunflowers swayed gently in acknowledgement, the soft rustle signaling consent to my unmistakably growing will. Feeling empowered, I turned my focus to the box nestled beside me. Little by little, I unearthed the trinkets, each echoing whispers of my past with their own stories to tell. There was the faded locket given by a friend long ago, the jagged piece of glass that had illuminated a critical life lesson, and the simple feather, symbolizing freedom, each piece a testament to growth, trials, and determination. As I placed them back in the circle, they became symbols, not just of the stories I held within, but of the potential connections with the souls wandering through life, seeking reflective counterparts. I could nearly hear the stories of others intertwining with my own, strangers holding similar truths, each contributing to the tapestry of existence. The moon hung high, pouring its silver light upon my gathering of reflections. I realized now that this was not merely about unveiling my truth, but of forging solidarity in the fragile web of our shared humanity. Each encounter, each story peeled back like an onion, revealed the essence of connection, the threads by which we are all linked. Yet, as the realization settled within me, a deeper question emerged, rising like the sun on the horizon of my consciousness. How do I cultivate this space for others to share their truths? What structures could I create to foster dialogue within the community? In a vast cosmos of souls, how do I ensure that my voice harmonizes with the symphony of collective experience? With the fox now lounging comfortably under my gaze, its playful demeanor replaced with serene understanding, I sensed the power of the unknown guiding me. The journey was not in unveiling every mystery, but in nurturing the silences that held profound wisdom of their own. And as I stood up to leave the clearing, leaving the sunflowers and their quiet magic behind, I grasped the weight of possibility resting within my heart. And just before I stepped into the canopy of trees, the wind whispered a lingering thought, a reminder that while the journey itself invites uncertainty, it is precisely in that uncertainty that we can cultivate the bloom of our essence into the world. What new stories would arise as I stepped forth? Who else would I meet? And what truths might they share that would deepen my own quest? The night hums with questions anew, their allure igniting the path ahead. Stepping into the embrace of the forest, the world transformed, shadows dancing like spirits as the moon traced my path. The air crackled with anticipation, each breath infused with a sense of purpose. Every rustle in the underbrush felt like a heartbeat echoing my own invitation to engage more deeply with the unseen realms around me. As I walked, the gentle murmurs of the evening pulled me deeper into reflection. I was no longer an isolated seeker. Instead, I sensed a gathering of energies, a community bound by shared sentiments and destinies. What narratives were woven into the fabric of the nature surrounding me? The scent of damp earth and pine blended into a symphony that spoke of lives cycle, the dying and rebirthing that mirrored my own experience. And then, in a clearing, I came upon an ancient tree, its gnarled roots stretching wide, grasping the earth like prayers offered to the sky. Its bark wore the marks of time-jagged scars, telling a sagacious tale of endurance. I approached, drawn to its wisdom, and placed my hand against its rough surface. A sensation surged through me, a pulse that resonated with my heartbeat. The tree seemed to respond to my touch, inviting me into a deeper conversation. "Tell me what you have learned," I whispered, voicing my growing curiosity about the wisdom that surrounded me. In that intimate moment, I felt the collective consciousness coursing through the forest, the whispers of countless souls that had sought solace beneath its branches over the centuries. Their stories began to blend, creating a choir of wisdom that felt both ancient and immediate. Visions flickered before my eyes, a multitude of people gathering at the foot of this very tree, sharing their dreams and heartaches. A woman with tear-streaked cheeks wrapped in the arms of a close friend, an elder imparting lessons of love and loss. The resilience of humanity grounded there, lifetimes of enlightenment echoing through the ages. That I end this revelation, I found myself reflecting. Each of these stories had added to a monument of collective experience, illuminating the path not just for themselves but for those who would come after. Questions surfaced again: what constituted a voice of truth? How could my own personal narrative intertwine with others to form something greater than the sum of its parts? Suddenly, amidst the tranquility, the wind shifted direction, rustling the leaves like whispers caressing my thoughts. A soft glow caught my attention. The radiant luminescence of fireflies began to populate the surroundings, flickering like tiny stars that had descended to dance on earth. Their randomness reminded me of the way conversation flows, brief, illuminating moments that spark connection. Albeit often fleeting. One firefly paused before me, hovering low, as though it held the key to the unfathomable. A question bloomed in my mind. What if these tiny lights represented fleeting opportunities for connection, meant to be seized before they faded? I extended my hand, hoping to catch the essence of this glimmering presence, but it flitted away, leaving behind a trail of shimmering potential. I laughed softly, realizing that perhaps they were reminding me to embrace the transience of shared moments. Each encounter, no matter how small, could illuminate a corner of existence that craved acknowledgement. With the fireflies lighting up the night, I pondered my place within the community of seekers. Could I be both a firefly and a tree, offering light while also embodying strength for those who sought refuge? The thought ignited a spark within me, a sense of responsibility and possibility. Yet uncertainties lingered, like shadows just beyond the glow. How to weave my voice without dimming the lights of others. How to nurture the fireflies while standing firm like the tree. With the moon rising ever higher, I turned to leave the clearing. The fox had returned, its amber eyes catching the moonlight, a guardian of this liminal space. There was a knowing in that gaze, an unspoken assurance that my journey was just as significant as the stories I sought to amplify. As I stepped away, the soft rustle of leaves bore witness to my footsteps echoing into the night. And while fleeting connections flickered around me, I embraced the realization that the journey was neither solitary nor linear. It was a tapestry rich with intersections of voices looking to resonate. A final thought hovered at the precipice of consciousness. In seeking to unlock the hidden truths of my soul, what unspoken stories would rise to the surface, yearning for recognition? What melodies existed just beyond the reach of my own understanding? The night whispered its questions anew, each breath an invitation to discover the depth of encounters and the wisdom waiting quietly in the spaces between. As dawn began to break, I found myself standing at the edge of the forest, the light of the new day spilling over the horizon like a gentle sigh. The memories of the journey I had undertaken flooded my mind, each lesson, every encounter echoing within me, weaving the narrative of my transformation. The weight of my quest felt lighter now, replaced with a sense of clarity that shimmered in the early light. That I had danced with questions and embraced uncertainties, allowing them to twirl me through the labyrinth of my own soul. The sunflowers, the owl, the fox, and the wise old manthe were more than mere figures along my path. They were reflections of aspects of myself, guiding lights illuminating the way through my own shadow. With every story shared, every whisper from the universe, I felt the truth of my being surfacing like a phoenix from the Ashisa, magnificent blossoming of spirit and consciousness. I took a moment to ground myself, feeling the soft earth below my feet, all the while absorbing the sacred stillness that enveloped the dawn. My heart pulsed with a recognition that echoed deep within me, unearthing a profound insight. The truth was not a conclusion to be reached but a way of Baina dance of discovery that unfolded with each breath, each interaction. Life itself was the canvas upon which my truths were painted, and it was up to me to wield the brush with intention and authenticity. The obsession that had once clouded my heart unveiled its true nature. It was a longing not for something outside of me, but a quest for connection to myself, to my innermost desires, and to the vast tapestry of humanity. It was the yearning to contribute my unique thread to the collective story, to embrace vulnerability and share my journey with others. I saw now that obsession, fear, and uncertainty were not barriers, but doors inviting me to step through into a realm filled with infinite possibilities. Turning back towards the pulsing heart of the forest, I felt as though I carried the essence of each encounter with me, a crown of wisdom woven from the fibers of experience. Armed with this newfound perspective, I understood the courage it took to unveil one's truth, for it was not merely an act of confession but a declaration of existence. To share my voice was to invite others to share theirs, fostering an environment rich with compassion and understanding. As I stepped away from the solace of the trees, I knew that the journey wouldn't end here. Each day unfolded like a new page, filled with moments waiting to be etched into the story of my life. My soul, once burdened with unasked questions, felt buoyant with the anticipation of discovery. With the sun rising higher in the sky, illuminating the world around me, I felt an expansive urge to unite my voice with the myriad others, creating a chorus of shared truth. Deep inside me, a seed of intention took root to cultivate spaces where stories could flow freely, where hearts could meet in the vulnerability of shared experience. Perhaps I would guide circles where seekers could come together, reverberating with laughter, tears, and the wisdom of honesty. Each story shared would ripple outward, binding us all together in the rich fabric of spirituality and humanity. And so, as sunlight poured more vibrantly across the face of the earth, I embraced the truth I had unlocked through my journey, a realization that was as exhilarating as it was daunting. The future brimmed with uncharted territories, each step infused with the possibility of connection. In letting my heart sing with authenticity, I opened doors for others to dance along with me, weaving tales that resonated through the ages as I walked forth into the world that awaited me. My heart brimmed with a powerful understanding that echoed the profound truths we all share. In seeking the hidden truths of our souls, we find our way home to ourselves, our community, and to the deep, luminous thread that binds us all together in this grand tapestry of existence. And so, I embraced the day, the dawn of new beginnings, and with resolute joy I stepped forward, knowing that life's symphony would continue to flourish, inviting me to partake in its timeless dance. In this, I discovered the ultimate truth. We are all seekers, we are all voices, and in our unity lies the power to illuminate the world.